He should be able to hold down the space bar.
There you go. Yep, now we got you. Okay, great. Mandy, any 2 cents? Great, wonderful. All right, guys, so let's say that we did the situation analysis. Real quick, I'd like to tell you, I watched the whole council budget workshop, and I don't believe any of you guys got the opportunity to watch that, but I just wanted to let you know, it just seems like such a different tone with this council. The TDA was mentioned several times in a really favorable light. Partnership, working with TDA were some of the comments. The chief came up with talking about the South Fork and the North Fork Trail, and council seemed to jump right on that with some very good feedback. Another wonderful thing is that council jumped on expanding and upgrading the visitor center, which I think that is something that has been one of our priorities for quite a while, and we just never had the money or inclination to do it. The council gave chief top 5 priorities. The second one was facilities, and a lot of the projects, if you take a look at the goals sheet that I sent out, or Kate was kind enough to include in your packet, there are a lot of projects that we are just totally in parallel and lockstep with. So I was happy that Chief reported that they will already be working with TDA on several projects. So that's just a kind of a highlight on the workshop. After that, what I did is I looked at the council priorities, then I looked at our goals and priorities. We had a meeting with Chief, we had a meeting with Kate, and we came up with some other ideas, and then also talked to each one of you guys, and you presented some ideas too. So when we get to the part where we're doing the proposed ideas, it's not a finished list by any means. It's just the information that all of us have been gathering. So, don't look at it and say, oh my gosh, this isn't on there, or we didn't consider this, or whatever. This is what we have to date, and a lot of it was based after the priorities from the council. All right, Steve's here, so Steve, would you like to go ahead and get into the financial report?
Sure, thank you, Sandy. So for the month of January, the rental occupancy collected by the different rentals was $1,574,532. It looks like a record. That translated into a tax of $150,386. I see a little bit of discrepancy on my budget sheet for the tax. I think it's $110 less. That came in at the last moment, and I've already had my reports done. So you'll see that in the opposite direction next month. $276 total revenue this month, $26,518 in expenditures, leaves you with a net excess of $427,464.
Where are your
Tough
glasses?
number, yeah. $426,464.
You need Cindy's glasses.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy. Finally got it. And the bank balances you see there at the bottom of the page, I won't go over those unless I need to.
No, I think everybody can read it, I think we're fine, so. Does anybody have any questions, just on this, one sheet of,
also have in the packet the invoices paid through the month of January. And I'm not sure what financial position is. I didn't do that before.
That's our next page coming up. So,
Oh,
does anybody have any questions of the invoices for Kate? All right, we're all good on that too. Good job, guys. You'll see in your packet, the next page, which Kate kindly put together for us, project expenditures for 2021, and it was updated in February. In the past, we had been working off of a projected budget, and I think a lot of you will remember a $38,000 projected project number. If you look down at the very bottom, and if your copies are in color, you'll see a pink number. And we've got that down there at 412. And then you'll also see a yellow highlighted number. We had talked about having a reserve fund. I think at our last meeting, and Kate, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think at our last meeting, we had approved 300, but that there was an option for, if we had more money, that we were thinking about increasing the reserve.
Yes, that's right, they approved 300,000, but wanted to take it up to 380, and that was possible, and that is certainly possible now.
Okay, so Kate, do we need to make a motion on that?
Yes, if you want to make the reserve 380, you need to have a motion and a second and a vote on that.
All right, before we do that, Calder, I think we were trying to talk. Calder.
Yeah, no, on the other amount that we have, we then have to decide where, what fund those want to go into. I mean, I'm assuming that a reserve amount is going to be, we want to keep this at this level all the time. So the remaining revenues, are those going to in the bank account that we will decide as a project, or that will be open both operating or what will we do?
Okay, right now, of course, everything's in the bank account. I don't have it in my personal mattress. So they are all in the bank. Steve, if you want to go through the color column from the 975 and the 380, and perhaps answer any Calder's question.
I think Calder's asking what, is it tourism, advertising, or tourism related? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we have 380 in our reserve account,
Right?
and then we're gonna have 300 whatever in our operating. How about the other one? So it's everything else in operating.
Well, your operating budget is not just the advertising or just the capital, it's both. So, I think I'm being asked, of the 412,000, no, I'll go back, the 380,000, is the question, is it advertising or tourism related? Is that the question, Colin?
In other words, we're gonna keep that in our reserve account for things that we may have to do.
I understand.
Or make ourselves as revenue when we have.
I understand.
Then if we have excess over that, then we have to go months where to put that.
In the past, and Kate, jump in here, I don't think there was ever any voting. I think
basically what you're doing is you're saying that your fund balance is never gonna drop below 380,000, is what we're saying. And Kate has that broke up as to the two-thirds and one-third.
All right, does anybody else have any questions? Mandy, you look like you've got a question.
No, okay, that's an explanation, I understand it now.
Okay, great. Kate, do you want to make any additions, any other comments? Okay, great. I think it would be helpful, and Steve, I'm not sure whether you would be able to accomplish this for us or not. The 412, that is based on actual occupancy tax that has been collected and that is in. Perhaps we could have another column or another area out there that could be a projected number through the end of the fiscal year.
Projected revenue to the end of the year?
Correct.
Sure.
Okay, Kate, does that sound okay to you?
It won't be right.
It'll be a projection, so.
Well, the expenditures won't be right either.
So in the past, the reports that we were looking at, guys, I think were not misleading, but were just a little bit behind, and I think everybody really thought we had less to spend on projects than we really did. I know I talked to Mandy, and she really thought we only had $38,000. So I'm hoping by looking at it this way, broken out this way, does everybody feel confident and understand that we have a lot more money and we could be getting a lot more good? All right. Kate, do you want to comment?
But we still have 122 left to spend. I mean, if there's, looking at the total 2021 project spending, determined after February, 122,000.
All right, Kate, Kate, would you jump in there and let her know that? Kate, you're muted.
If you look back on your other sheet, that is the actual revenues and expenditures up to date, line 7,400 has 125,398. So you've already got that covered and what we've got in your current budget.
Did that answer your question, Cindy, or not?
Well, do we at some point in time have to subtract that out of the bank account? Because it doesn't look as though it's been. Yes, some of it has already been spent. There's the status column looks like that there's some already spent of that. Right. Yeah, I'm looking at it, unspent amount, if that has been somewhere accounted for.
It looks to me like, Cindy, that
That's our 182 figure. Okay. Total expenditures, 182. Yeah, the 182 includes everything in the budget, capital projects, any kind of activity you want to do plus the operating. So it's the full amount we have left to spend in this year's budget. Okay.
Okay, so is everybody clear on the dollar amounts now and feels comfortable that we're going to have in excess of the 412 because we've got a couple of really good months that are going to be coming in? All right?
I mean, even at January, February, June, and as our 3 months together, we still be up a huge.
Yes, Calder, you're definitely right on that. So the next page that I'd like you guys to look at, and I kind of took it out of order in the agenda, 'cause we've got Bob here, and I'm not jinxing him, is you'll see a page that says project determined at town budget hearing or the budget workshop. It's got a blue border around it, and it has 8 items that have been identified. And again, these are you know, the only ones, these are the ones that Bob, Kate, and I just quickly wrote down. Has everybody found that page?
I don't think I've read it, it was like 53 pages.
Okay. All right, Cindy, I'll just go ahead and note it for you. At the very top, it says projects determined at town budget hearing. And these are the ideas that Kate and Bob and I, Kate, you did that, I don't think anybody saw it. So, all right, everybody got it?
I don't.
It's got a blue border around it.
About halfway through.
That doesn't help, okay. Well, I really appreciate it.
It's before pineapple.
It's the page before the pineapple report, and I know you can find the pineapple color. Okay. Got it. All right, so, I'm gonna go ahead and, let, Bob go through some of this, or actually most of it, because I think the first 8 really came out of the, council workshop. And Kate, would you please chime in with all of your comments too? All right, Chief?
Okay, so a couple things. This list of 8 items, and it's going to grow as we go through the budget process and we have TDA meetings and we get ideas and things. In fact, I've added a 9th one already today of some sort of transportation from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. That is in the TDA's strategic goals, and I've just discussed it with council with varying degrees of support. But that list is going to grow, and as we determine what projects we want to do and get them done, they'll come off the list and other things could come. I think it's going to be a dynamic list. So if you look at those top 8 items, the town at their budget retreat made their number 5 priority of all things in the town the playground at the Bark Park. So that's pretty good marching orders for me to put together a proposal along with the funding mechanism for that playground. Similarly, the bathroom at the Bark Park, although it didn't reach to the level of a specific item in the town council 5 priorities, it was listed with facilities, and we would like to put a bathroom at the Bark Park, obviously, and I've already met with John Merritt, and he and Kate are getting together to come up with a design and a cost factor for that. So the third item is trails connecting areas of the town. That's general in nature, but predominantly what I talked about was the Fork Trail that I shared with you at 2 TDA meetings ago. And I've got support from the council to complete that Fork Trail system. And just to review, at the Greenway bus stop, I call it, one trail will go up along the Public Works right-of-way into the Elder property right-of-way, behind the hotels, and over eventually to the overlook, join in with the trail that goes down to Upper Pond Creek, and you can make your way all the way down to Lake Coffee from the Greenway. The other section of the Fork Trail, as we've discussed, would be continuing along, we currently end at Christie Way in the Parkway, continuing along the Parkway, along the property that the town controls, that undeveloped property in front of top of the beach. And at some point in that area, we would then turn left and go down through the woods and eventually wind up on Skiway Circle. I've had Preston, our town planner, and I've talked with Kate, getting them together to look at the right-of-way, look at easements, look at a manner to put that in place. So that had support of the council, and it's already underway. Obviously, I don't have funding for any of this. That's why it's on your list. The wayfinding signs, that's a carryover from last year. I know the TDA has made that a strategic issue, as well as the council. We just haven't settled on a design, or not much more than just a discussion. So I've briefly talked with Kate about it and Preston to put together a proposal that we can take to council for wayfinding signs along the parkway predominantly. The radio frequency, actually, that doesn't even make sense to me. It's not a radio frequency, it's a radio station. It's actually a radio transmitting station. I think I've talked to everybody but Cindy on this. And that's a partnership. I personally need it for hazardous conditions, when the parkway is blocked due to an accident, when the traffic is backed up to Banner Elk. We want to be able to communicate in the car with the visitor coming up the mountain. And that doesn't happen often, but it's something that I need from a emergency management standpoint. So that leaves about 90% of the time the radio station is available. We would own it for the TDA to put whatever messages they wanted out to the public in their car, similar to maybe the TV station, similar to some of the printed materials. But you would have the ability to communicate with visitors as they came up the mountain through Banner Elk directly into their car, should they so choose to select that. The other component of that, which I think I shared with Calder in more detail, was that whatever this message is, either emergency message or community messaging, I'm not sure what to call it, it would also be available on the internet. So any device, any smartphone, anything connected to the internet anywhere in the world could also hear this message. So if we kept the message dynamic, meaning the TDA kept the message fresh and dynamic, we could market events, Kite Festival, there's something going on at Buckeye, just all the things that the TDA is involved in. I just think this would be a good addition, a good partnership between the TDA and the town. So that particular one, we've finalized the project. We've got the price, and I've sent that to Kate and Sandy, and I see that it's in your packet today. So that particular project is an example of how I would continue going through projects that I wanted you to fund. Is we would do it in a similar fashion, where we would develop the program, develop a cost, submit it for your approval. Assuming it gets approved, we would build the project. Steve would account for the funds, and we would end the project by reporting back to the TDA how their funds were built. We did this year with Sledding Hill number 2, and the radio station would be another example of that. Some on the council wanted to continue street lights along the Beach Mountain Parkway, particularly in that paved access walkway across from Fred's, in that stand of trees that the town owns. And that, can you still hear us? Can you hear us? Okay.
We're relinking.
Well,
We lost our visual.
We lost the visual, but we've got the tried and true telephone. So the street lights are asking to continue some lighting along that pathway that exists, and to try and build onto the existing greenway that's there. Town signs we've talked about. Those currently have been designed. We're waiting on permission and right-of-way. That's the sign at Buckeye Creek Road and US 321. and another sign at Buckeye Creek Road and Buckeye Road. So those signs have been designed. We're out for bid to get prices and permission from DOT. And similarly, those would be presented to you. And should you desire to have that project go forward, we would do it the same way. The visitor center expansion, we have some support from council. Obviously, they want additional information. Met with Kate. Public restrooms, sized accordingly for the crowds we've been experiencing, are a major issue, as well as office space. As you all know, the visitor center is open, and it makes it difficult for the TDA and Economic Development Coordinator to perform any functions outside the public. So when she's meeting with potential developers, potential business people, it's in a very public setting, and those discussions don't normally lend themselves to public discussions, because a lot of developers or businesses that are desirous moving to the town like to keep it quiet as long as possible as they purchase or put their plans together. So the visitor center expansion is, it's not as far along as it needs to be. I've asked John Merritt and Kate to get together. There's already some preliminary plans that have been done, and we need to bring those along to a situation where they can be bid, or there can be an estimate going forward. So that's the visitor center expansion. Transportation that I added, number 9, there's both the TDA and a number of people have said they want some level of transportation throughout the town. We're looking into that. I have some council who support it. I have others who are adamantly against it, so I really don't know how that's going to play out. But my example back to the beginning of the party, with the invite and the hosting and the cleanup, it's my opinion that a town taxpayer should not pay for a transportation link that's used exclusively for our visitors to go up and down the parkway, stop at the resort, stop at some of the stores and restaurants, go down to Buckeye. The town taxpayer doesn't want to, or I don't know what they want. I'm a taxpayer. I don't want to fund that because I'm not going to use it. So I think that one lends itself greatly to a TDA project, which we certainly would manage that, but I've added that to the list. What's not on here is Sledding Hill. As you know, we moved the Sledding Hill. We used COVID as the reason to spread people out. I'm not certain that we accomplished that goal. I think we doubled at least the attendance at the 2 sledding hills. But I think what we did, and what you did by funding it, is we proved it could work. We proved that it's a viable site. In my opinion, it's a better site than what we have, as in the original sledding hill. I will tell you this, that our risk management from the insurance group, that the League of Municipalities that insures us, was very, very pleased that we had moved it across the street to a much safer hill, and was eager to see if we were not going to operate the original sledding hill today. So I think that also was discussed with council, and I believe they're desirous of moving forward with making Sledding Hill number 2 more permanent. And there's some issues there that need to be dealt with, but I think that's going to be on the list as maybe number 10 for your list on that Sledding Hill. And so I think that's it, unless there's any questions.
Cindy, you want to go ahead and start with the green pad? Any questions just specifically on those 10 items?
I can remember my daughter's back with that.
Well, little known.
You kind of answered my question about the visitor center expansion. I'm wondering, are you planning to do away with the sled hill and move out onto that area?
The plan is to probably go in two directions, towards Town Hall, possibly for the bathrooms where the courtyard is, and then out towards the original sledding hill for offices. I really haven't seen Kate and John's conceptuals yet, but that's what in discussion, that's what I was told.
Kate, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, actually, the sewer line goes under that patio, and John and I looked at moving it for the council previously, and there were some problems with doing that. It might be easier to just do the whole thing for the lake, so we have yet to have time to get together and draw up these kind of plans. That it might be simpler to leave these exactly where they are, and then add on to them out into what is our hallway, and then both our offices out towards the sledding hill, and just make a longer L in the lobby. But yeah, we don't have an actual drawing yet of what that would look like.
And I guess my next biggest question, of course, is the radio station. It sounds like that's gonna be that's a job for someone. I mean, if you're actually operating a radio station, who's gonna do it? Who do we have to have that kind of charismatic voice? And are we gonna have to be paying somebody $40,000 a year to be doing that? Because quite frankly, I have to see people in our visitors center being able to run a radio station. And I'm not real comfortable with the police doing it, because they've got other things to do, and tourism isn't really their business. So I'm just wondering if somebody can explain how they envision this thing working. I am the idea that it's 3 miles radius rather than a half a mile, so I'm a lot more comfortable in that realm now. And I just like to know the logistics of it. The
Well-
more you have, the more you have to maintain, I guess, is where I am. What's it gonna cost to run it? What's it gonna
Well-
maintain it?
Well, again, this is a partnership with the town. I'm asking the TDA to fund it. I will operate the emergency notification section of it. The town will handle that, and yes, I will be using the police department because I use those for Code Red, and I use those for other emergency notification. If and I believe it's a win-win for the TDA, if the TDA wishes to put information on there, you can put as little or as much on there. It's similar to your TV station. It's similar to the information that you put out there now. I certainly don't think you need a disc jockey at $40,000 a year to run this AM radio station. But that's going to be up to the TDA. What information do you want to put out there? How frequently? And how do you want to communicate that?
And Kate, if you
I
can,
believe
John,
in your previous experiences with these type of radio stations, who's putting programming on there, and how do they handle it? Who did it?
Well, it was run, in my previous life, it was run by the fire department, and we put, basically, if you took the fire department website that had hurricane preparedness and tornado preparedness and home fire prevention and all the things that you see on a fire department website, we announced that and put it into a format that could run on a loop on the radio station. When we had a hurricane, and we had 6 of those stations, when we had a hurricane, we had recorded information that went out on that system so that the community could pick up on the emergency notification. So that's how that one worked. It didn't have marketing or notice of there was a swim meet at the pool or things like that. But that's easily added to it by whoever wants to do it. I mean, if the TDA wants to put information out there, we can certainly find a way to make that happen. You don't need a dedicated person, and you don't need a disc jockey to run this information radio. It's very similar if you've been to Disney World, as you pull into their parking area, you know, they give directions on how to park and how to get your tickets and how to take the shuttle. But they also throw in things about there's fireworks tonight, you know, make sure you stop at the, you know, Splash Mountain for this event and that event. And it would be very similar to that.
And I know you guys probably know Kate's on the radio at least, what, once a week, Kate? And doing the same kind of, type of, announcements of, you know, what's happening this week on the beach. So I think that it would be something that we would end up, you know, right now we're dreaming about the topics, but I think it's something that, we would be able to use and expand on. Any more, Cindy, any more questions?
Not at the limit, I guess that's not anything that we can partner with Gavenus or anybody like that to kind of make us more in agreement. If it's PTA money, we can't really commingle with the town.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know whether we would want to do that. I think once we get them up here, what our intention is to try to keep them up here and using these restaurants and, you know, our facilities up here. But I'm not saying that that's not a good idea. That's something we can investigate. All right, do you have any other questions, Cindy?
Something we could maybe fill into later if they want to come in.
Yeah, correct. All right, Mandy, you want to go next?
One of my things with the radio station was we have code red. Can we get an explanation of the difference?
Well, Code Red, yeah, Code Red is, depending on who the town manager is at the time, is either a system for emergencies only, like in Gatlinburg when there's a fire and we need to evacuate, or there's, in the winter, we have a extended power outage and we need to communicate with people. So emergencies, evacuation, emergency situations, gas leaks, things like that. It's not to be used for social events, public events, to let you know that there's a public meeting at Buckeye tomorrow, those type of things. So if you've noticed, Code Red is being used for emergencies only. So that's the big change. The difference between this and Code Red is Code Red can only communicate with people who have registered their phone number into the system. It cannot communicate with the hundreds or thousands of commuters or transient people who are coming to the mountain every weekend. We don't have their number. They're not programmed into the system. So I can tell them to evacuate all day long, and they don't get the message. So although Code Red has its purpose, it is very limited in who it can reach. It doesn't have the ability to reach the people that we're talking about today that are in their car from Charlotte driving up here. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea what their phone number is. And when we do a Code Red, they don't get the information. We would put the same information for emergencies out on the radio station as well as the internet site as well.
How do you envision promoting
We would put a sign, or you've seen the signs, you know, for the ones that DOT uses. They say for traffic information tuned to, 1620 on the AM dial. We will have a frequency, say it's 1620, and we'll have to put some signage at the base of the mountain, or maybe in Banner Elk if I can convince them to let me do that, that for Beach Mountain information tuned to this radio, and we should put the URL for the website as well, because there's some people that would rather listen to it on their phone than listen to it on their car radio. So it would be visible signage for those people driving up the road. That you couldn't put it out on a website. You couldn't put it out because you don't know who they are. So hopefully when they're driving up the road in blizzard conditions and the road is blocked, someone remembers that the sign said, hey, turn to 1620 and we'll find out what's going on, and we'll be able to communicate why the road is blocked, or what's going on, or if there's evacuation orders or something like that. For the TDA, it would be the similar thing. We'd have to make that sign not so that it was just for emergencies, but let's say it said for Beach Mountain tourist information, tuned to this frequency, then they would hear that loop of all the activities and projects and things that you wanted them to know about.
Well, I asked this because I know that you got nowhere asking the town of Vanderbilt to allow us to put a welcome to Vanderbilt on one side, welcome to Beach Mountain on the other side sign, which to me is still amazing. So, aside from that kind of flashy thing, I wonder if maybe you can get one of those digital billboards down on 105 or something that would catch people further out than waiting till they got to the top of Beach Mountain.
Well, you could, I mean, that, you know, that's an option. You're correct. It's not that I didn't get anywhere with Banner Elk. They flat out said no. So, you know, how we capture that car, that group of people in a vehicle coming up the mountain. Yeah, well, that's why
The DOT, if they'll give us a bigger banner sign,
we own that spot, so we probably would put a, one of these informational signs there as well.
Okay, great. Andy, do you still have any more questions?
yes, streetwise, like, are we talking how many, is there a design that kind of thing?
No.
We are pretty sure that they're not gonna be $7,000.
The, as I said at the beginning, every one of these projects will be designed, costed, and submitted. So at this point, other than the council telling me they'd like to add street lighting along that path, we haven't gone any further than that, other than talk to our design folks to come back with us.
I think what we could do here, that would help Chief Cuddy, is there anything out of these 10 items, and Calder, I promise I'll get to you for your questions, but is there anything that people have a, you know, spiritual, moral, whatever kind of philosophical difference, and you don't think that he should be wasting his time planning or coming up with more information? Is there anything that is just a no-go?
If there isn't,
Okay, all right, so, I guess we can,
I think public transport is probably a big discussion.
I'm agree, you know, that.
Other than that, the rest of it is all kind of, as you say, in line with the town and the short story.
so are you saying definitely no to that, or should we put that the furthest down on the priority list?
I just think that's gonna be a tough one to chew on because we've tried to chew on it before, and you're right, taxpayers don't want to pay for it, that needs just to end, and the 2 or 3 restaurants pay for it, and, in years past, it didn't get very, that's not the way, you know, the times have changed. But I see that one being just as we approve.
Kate, would you weigh in?
Yeah, I was thinking, real option, one is to have recreation be responsible for it, and have a shuttle that runs up and down, they would have to hire us to do that, that would be a benefit. I think a better option would be that if we target enterprise, that we could arrange some enterprise to come up on the mountain that will provide transportation or the and that's the way they do their business. That to me makes much more sense, it should not, in my opinion, be a difficult option.
And Kate, what about all of the other 9? Would you weigh in? Is there anything that you're seeing that deviates from what you think is the TDA mission?
No, I think you're
Kate did a great job. We did, what, 2 years of it, Kate? That went really successful. Well, there's a few issues. Okay.
It's been at for quite a while, since 2016. So it went really, really well, and we have had quite a few questions where people are asking us when we're gonna get back on again. But I think there is interest in making an application out there if we do have funds.
Well, I think the wonderful thing, and, you know, it's been kind of like the perfect opportunity, you said the perfect storm, is we do have this windfall of dollars. And I can see, you know, perhaps, as we had done in the past, setting aside, you know, the 10,000, 15, whatever the board decides, for the grant projects. And, but remember, when we opened up the grant projects, we had people like Fred doing the concerts, Fred and Fred. You know, there was the fireworks that came to us. A lot of what we did last year, no, not last year, we didn't do events, but the year before, was, for lack of a better term, we grandfathered in, I believe, almost half of those came.
We grandfathered in 8 different projects that we just don't need to come back to us every year because we know we're gonna fund them. Yeah, so we grandfathered in concerts, fireworks, trail maintenance, Christmas decorations, and material well. But yeah, there were a number of them that we just said, these are ones we know we're gonna fund.
So even though it's not really a full grant process, we are taking care of some of those items that were important to the town. Coker, I know if you checked your email, we got something from the Historical Society. Businesses are doing really well. Restaurants are doing great, lodging is doing great, but charities are not doing that well. And in the past, I know the Historical Society, you know, was a benefactor of one of our
Well, I don't know that I should. Um,
Well, let's put the pedal to the metal, let's get it going now.
My argument is not with the project, and not certainly not with Bob, you got the town goal. My only thing is, we're kind of saying that we've got these 10 in front of us, but all the other people are not getting the
want to really start working on as quick as possible?
Well, and please don't take this wrong, we're all friends, right? I sent you a detailed proposal on a radio station, to the penny. And, no one ever got back and said, yes, no. So I hear what you're saying. If you want to accomplish anything, you have to get off the let's talk about it. You have to get into the let's get moving. I've got a budget to put together for the town, and we're at 100 miles an hour putting that budget together. These projects I can't include in the budget if I don't have an option to tell the council what the partnership is. There's a lot of things other than these items that I have to prepare and get to the council to run the town. So I understand what you're saying, and I understand you're interested in sufficient detail, but I gave you that on the radio station, and I've spent more time than I care to on that particular project, and if it's not going to fly, just tell me it's not going to fly, and we'll put it in a file. I need to get moving, and I can't be bound by the delay, constant delay. If you want to design the project and you want to fund it, so be it. But if you want me to do it, I need some direction. Either you want to proceed with this or you don't.
Are you considering this, radio station one of the higher priorities on this list?
Well, no. It was, I proposed it 2 months ago. We went out and got the design and the bidding 2 months ago. It should have been built 30 days ago. And now I'm into the spring. So now it may not be as important to me as it was 2 months ago. So that's the only item you have on your agenda from me, is the radio station. And if I can't even get a clear answer from the TDA board on that, why should I go to all the work of coming up with a visitor center expansion, which is a major project, design, engineering, and cost it out? That's a lot of work to go through the process of back and forth in individual design. Don't take it wrong, but I don't have time to delay. I need to get things done. Well, you have to have the project that people say, yeah, we're interested in that. I think everybody knows what a playground runs. I think everybody knows what a bathroom is going to run. We don't know what the visitor center is. Well, we built Lake Coffee bathroom for $28,000. But we built Shane Park bathroom for $400,000. So it depends on what winds up being there. Playgrounds, you can spend $20,000, you can spend $300,000. Ask Blow and Rock. I think they spent almost $500,000. The trails, I don't know. We're designing those as we speak, but I need to get those in place. We need, the minute the snow melts, I need to get people building those trails, because it won't be long before fall is here and we have to stop. So it's not an issue of that I don't want to have infinite discussions on it. I just need to know what you want me to do. And if it's not something you're comfortable with, tell me that, and I'll move on.
Father?
Instead of on this end project, maybe we need to go back to the agenda and put those items that were on the agenda for this month. Or talk about this, move or not.
Calder, all of those under old business, and Kate, correct me if I am wrong, all of those have already been approved. Kate was just gonna let you know the status of them. You've already approved $26,000 for the billboard. The channels, I believe Kate is gonna give you an update on that. There might be some small equipment that needs to be purchased, but I believe she already had that in the budget. The second sledding hill, we already did the 20 grand on that. There might be some more addition if we do end up moving it all the way over there. Webcam, you already approved the funding on that. Jackrabbit, all of you $2,500 for the birthday party. EMO is still in flux, radio in flux, quilt trail's done. Grants, you're gonna have the discussion on whether you guys wanted to set aside a portion, whether you wanted to do them at all. You're not required to do them. Fort Trail, as Chief just told you, he's not sure what that's gonna cost, they're costing it out. Town signs, you guys have already seen, the mock-ups of them. They're getting back to us with the, quote and, goals reviews for academic. So that's all old stuff, Calder, that we've already gone through.
So I meant the items that were in flux, do we need to, a lot of things to move forward?
That's what I think. I think we need to vote today on what's not on the agenda, and that's not been approved yet.
Okay, so you're saying you want to vote, yes or up or down, yes or no on these 10 items?
No, on the three or four items that were still in flux under old business.
Yes.
But that, I'm misunderstanding, that's today, that's what you want to real clear.
Well, yeah, the only thing I really have on the agenda for you to make a decision for me is the radio channel.
Well, and maybe the way we could possibly go at this is, of course, go ahead and decide on the regular meeting. And look, about 400,000 in excess, come up with a figure that we are comfortable committing to and asking which of these projects we can achieve for that amount of money.
I think that list of 10 projects, again, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but that would absolutely use up all of our,
For right now, but we have more funding still.
Correct.
I'm just saying, that it would use all of my.
Well, Calder,
Maybe we can say what 300,000 I guess.
Well, Calder, you know, if you said do all these projects today, I couldn't spend your $400,000 before next month when another $100,000 comes in. So that's why if you would project, that's what we do for the town. We project our revenues for a year through June 30th so that we can budget it. And quite frankly, and I shared this with Kate, your $412,000 is way low of what you're going to be. The TDA is going to be faced with $1 million in the bank pretty soon, and then what are you going to do? You know, give your grant to every business in the town at $5,000, and it's a drop in the bucket. If you want to seize the opportunity to do some projects that probably will never be done again, this is the time to do it and project your revenues. I'll use paving Buckeye Creek Road as an example. We had an opportunity last year to do a once-in-a-lifetime project that we were able to get the town council to fund. That road had been talked about for 20 years, and it would have been talked about for another 20 years, but we had an opportunity, and we had some funds available. And although they gave me permission to spend $680,000, when we were done, we took $85,000 out of reserves to pave the road. So, you know, you've got far more projected income than $412,000. And since I'm on my soapbox, the visitors who are coming to the town are paying their way. They're paying their way through the 6% bed tax. The people who are being impacted are the taxpayers. They don't have any other income that's coming in, some relatively low sales tax increases. But all of the things that are occurring are due to the influx of visitors. And they're not the problem. They're paying their fair share. You're collecting their money. Let's do something with it to benefit the town and benefit make it a better place to visit. Because if we miss the opportunity, you'll be talking about it again this time next year.
Okay, Calder, any other comments?
Well, other than I would
They're not.
They are.
Well, I'm certainly, I'm not.
The permanent population in this town would not support, this many restaurants or bread stores or other retail shops that are up here. The permanent population, taxpayer population wouldn't support all of those extra businesses. Again, I'm not saying I'm against those, they're a huge, huge viable, modern part of the community. And will keep them going, the 12 months, not just during our practice.
Well, let's not forget Fred's has been here 37 years. And before 2020, 2021, this tremendous influx of visitors, the permanent population as well as the limited visitors that we've had, as shown by your financial statements, has kept Fred's running for 37 years. When I talked to Fred last week, he said he's never had the last 3 months in the history of his business, he's never done this much business. So it is the impact of the visitors. It is, and they are paying their fair share. The visitors are. Where the disconnect is with the TDA, who's collecting those impacts, and we're not doing anything with it.
I think in the past,
Are you, Bob, you want to vote on these 10 projects today?
No, I don't. I told you that I would bring you a project with design and cost for you to approve or disapprove. And I did that with the radio station. And I still can't get a decision on a $20,000 project, and that's disheartening, because there's an awful lot of time involved in putting these projects together, and I can't go month to month discussing them and debating whether you have enough money or whether you're going to have enough or whether you want to do grants or, whether it reaches half a mile or 3 miles. You can't get things done like that.
all right, but we could, at this point, go ahead and make a motion and approve the radio station or disapprove the radio station. Does everybody feel like they have enough information to do a decision on that?
I would make a motion that we approve it.
Yeah, I came prepared to talk about the radio station and vote on it. The other 10 projects will be kind of set up in the
I think I've already said enough.
But I also feel like coming along with this increased visitor center is probably gonna come another employee that we'll be thinking about. Maybe I'm wrong here, but we can see what the next couple of months of income brings us, and if we're very comfortable spending another 100,000 or something, that's great. I'm a little sleepy and throwing up around that.
Okay, how about this? And we'll
Not,
just,
not without the numbers that I can look at.
Well, I mean, let's go back to the items on the old business that were kind of not sure was, do you need anything else from us on the town side?
No, we're progressing on all of those, and we'll have those finished here shortly. You know, the Fork Trail, we're in the design phase. I don't know how much that's going to cost. It could be very inexpensive, but I don't know. We're working through the design. We'll need to talk about the sledding hill when the council tells me what they want to do. Do they want to move it permanently? So no, I don't need anything on those that are in the old business.
Right. And then, there was a question about the amount of money that was being requested for the lease of legal department. Good issues in there.
We should table that. EMO trails may be short-lived.
What did you say, Bob? I'm sorry.
The EMO trails, the Emerald Outback Trails may be short-lived. We have an agreement with the landowner through November of this year, and he's indicated that he's not interested in extending that agreement lease for the access for the trails.
Would that be the lighting?
Yes, ma'am.
After you've offered him the 6,000 or 7,000, whatever it was,
No, that's a different item. That's leasing the property for the parking. There's no reason for you to lease the property if we're not going to have trails.
all right, guys, looking at these 9 or 10 items here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Penny and Kate, it seems like probably the one that would cost the most would be the visitor center expansion. So what if we go ahead and take that one off the list? And the other 9, if you guys want to come up with a dollar amount, whether it's 300,000 Calder, you're actually doing what the council did. So everybody, Cindy, give me your top five, Calder, give me your top five, and Amanda, give me your top five.
I lost the list.
Okay, Calder, give me your top five.
I'll be real honest. I'll be real honest. When I printed this out last night, it was the first time that I actually took all of these projects at one shot.
Okay,
I think I'd be prepared to give you my top five within a week, but I'm not sure I'm prepared to do it.
okay, Mandy?
I want to do them all.
So do I.
That's my thought.
I think that Chief Cuddy is right up there with you.
I think they're all great ideas, and I want to say another thing. Cindy, in my opinion, the residents and the employees here on the mountain are being impacted by the influx of guests. Most of the time, residents cannot get in the restaurants because they are full from guests. I know many of the employees are getting abused, not abused, but verbally
you would be comfortable with closing grant application submissions, the end of February?
Now, close them, you send it out, and then,
No one has any time to sit and work and
Okay, this man sitting over here, he's got time.
yes, open them on March the February 26th, and then you can close them on March the 26th, and then make the determination, like February, or April 1st or 2nd, so that then everybody knows what dollar amount you committed and you're working from. I mean, one thing that's different this time, guys, you have the money immediately then to get it out. Because it used to be that you waited till July 1st to get this money for the next year. This time you have a really, really positive situation where as soon as you approve the grant application, you can't make those good salaries. As soon as you approve the grant applications this time, you can go ahead and disperse funds.
Okay, is, if they come back and, they're not gonna have any, decisions made until the end of March, or you said April 1st, when you would know, Kate?
Yes, ideally what you do is have a meeting, like a couple days after the end of the grant application, because I'll send them all out to everybody, I'll scan them in your packet, and then you'll have a meeting where you make your study decision. So, I'm looking on the calendar, and on April 1st and 2nd will be that Thursday, so we can have a meeting, if there's a lot of them, we can have a meeting, one of each of those days, and then a meeting one of those days, and then get those out.
All right, it sounds like there's a consensus that everybody is comfortable with the grant application. Is there any way that we could look at these 9 or 10 projects here and select maybe 1 or 2 or 3 that to give Chief the go-ahead on, especially because of the spring planning time and just to be able to get him to get off of the mark?
I said we didn't talk forward.
on the town signs on number 7 different than the signs that were under old business.
Yes.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Those town signs are the one on Buckeye Road.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. Those are the ones that John Barrett gave us a,
Yeah, it's the same as on old business.
image for, and then he said
Right.
a price on it.
He said, "Are they the same?" I said, "Yeah." I meant to say, yeah.
Those are going in for sure. The work trail, I know Bob's already working on that, so I mean, I think that's what it is going in.
Okay, and
The radio tower.
the radio tower. Bob, do you see anything out of those 9 that would benefit you extremely well, to get a go-ahead, and it won't be part of the grant process? It'll just be a project that we know that we need some further lead time, some quicker lead time on.
Well, here's the deal. I can't wait till April to get approval. I have to put this in my town budget, which is why I waited till today to get all this to you. So in reality, I'm going to pick the ones that I think I can get the town to fund, and I'm going to proceed. The ones that I don't believe fit into their agenda, I'll see you next budget. I can't wait. I can't wait till April to have you tell me, well, first of all, here's what's going to happen in April. We're going to have the same question and answer we had today about all the minutia, and my budget is 99% done by April. And then I've got to get the council to approve a budget twice by the 1st of June, the first week of June. So that's the reality. So that's what we'll do. It's no problem. It's just you won't be able to accomplish what we're talking about in this next budget cycle.
And it's not just the budget cycle. We are going to be losing somebody who has been able to implement a lot of our goals, a lot of the town goals, and God knows, I'm hoping we get another great town manager, but I think we are shooting ourselves in the foot. There is nothing on here that you guys are having any type of problem with. It's academic, guys, whether we take the risk now, and I would much rather risk with a person that I've been doing projects with for an entire year, who lives on the mountain, who has just a successful track rate. If you don't trust him, trust me, okay? Now is the time to spend this money. We have 380.
When the town council, if they were presented with a list of projects without without the cost beside each one, would they approve it?
No, and that's not what Calder.
What he's asking.
Calder, I've repeated this like 3 times, and I will bring you a project with a cost for you to approve or deny, but that's going to be in the next 30 to 40 days, because I have to include it in the town budget. If you don't want it, tell me now and save me some time. If you guys want to play the let's be conservative, which I understand, and let's hash this out, then I'm all for that, but it won't be done in this budget cycle.
All right, well, if we're not gonna approve all nine, what are the top ones the town would like to see done? Well, actually, we've already got 3 of them in there that we've already approved in the past, so we really don't need 6 or 7.
Well, let me weigh in again, because I hope I'm not coming off as being aggravated, but I am. The fork trails, for the last 3 months that I've been involved with the TDA board, that's what I've heard. You want the fork trail, you want it done, you want the trails down to the resort, you want something done. So I'm doing that. We're putting that together. It's in your plan. It's also on this list here. I can't believe we're even discussing that the trails connecting the town is even a discussion on these 9 items. The bathrooms. I've heard nothing but problems with bathrooms because of the influx of people. Mandy pointed out that, all the Jiffy Johns we have, and Kate tells you that we get them emptied like every other day and they're full. Why are we talking about, is a bathroom a good idea at the visitor center, or is it not? I can't believe we're talking about it. The town signs you already approved. The visitor center expansion, it has to happen. There's no 2 ways about it. If you don't want to expand the visitor center, if that's not like an automatic yes, let's do it, then we're really going to set ourselves back. But so that's number 8 on the list. I didn't put the list in order. The playground, either way, the town's going to put a playground up at the top because the people have asked for it. I think it's, my pitch to the council was that's a TDA funded project. If you don't want to fund it, I will fund it out of the town budget. I think that's wrong, but I don't have time to go through and justify to the minutia every one of these things on the list. If you don't want them, just tell me that, and I'll figure a way to get them built somewhere else. There's nothing on this list that you haven't already told me, either in your documents or in your meetings, that you want done. So I bring you a list, and I said, what do you think? We can go forward on this, and all I get is delay. And I'm just telling you, I'm not up for delay. I'm willing to push it off till next budget.
Well, since this is the first time I've seen this list of 9, this a couple days ago, I don't think I'm gonna delay them. And quite honestly, nobody ever said to us in the fall that the town needed their project before we go to change for separate TDA. We didn't know that it couldn't be part of that. So
should we lose this opportunity because we don't, it's almost like all of these projects are great and wonderful, but we're gonna go ahead and not get them, planned out or started because of an unknown potential of grants. And we don't have to do grants, and I understand the fairness factor of it, but I don't think there's a lot of people that would not like any of these projects.
I'm not questioning the project, I'm questioning that even still with the question, a few of us reacting to it on time. And this down to, like I said, because you don't buy the day.
No, Father, and you know what? I don't want to say I'm offended by that. You can have your opinion and whatever. I will say that I think because of COVID and because of that, the stuff I talked about in the situational analysis that we talked about at the beginning, you know, we don't necessarily have to do it like we've done it in the years past. And I don't think it has to be an all or nothing, like we have to totally do it by the grant process which we have established. I'm asking, let's do the grant process. You guys are comfortable with the grant process. I'm asking, is there a way that we can give the town manager some solid projects that he can work on so that he can fix his budget to the best of his ability, and we still keep some money for the grant projects and a happy medium. And I do not in any way, I'm trying to force you, I'm just trying to open up everybody's eyes of the opportunity that we have right now.
What would 2 weeks get you and what?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. Some of these projects, I may not have prepared, design and estimates for weeks, if not months. And I think that's where Calder and I have a disconnect. This list that you were presented in your packet, well, one, I didn't prepare, but I gave all those projects there. All but the radio station we've been talking about for months with the TDA. I'm not asking you to approve that list. There's nothing for you to approve other than if you say, hey, I really don't like that playground and I don't think I can support that. But I'm not asking you to approve this list because you don't have the information to make a decision. So hopefully we're on the same page there. The next one that I will probably bring you is the bathroom and the playground, because those are farther along. And then the visitor center expansion, which I think is the most important, it's going to take the longer time to bring it to you because, one, it's a bigger project. We have to get it designed sufficiently where we can get it on the street to get a cost estimate or a bid, and that's not going to happen in a couple weeks. So I can't tell you which ones are going to come in next, but I know we're working on the playground, we're working on the bathroom at the Bark Park. The trails are they're already underway. And the signs are underway. We're waiting on a price, and the visitor center is going to be the outlier because it's such a big project.
Well, and I think if we have some ideas of what, just because my thought, that would give us a little bit more comfort as to, as Mandy said, we want it all, we just need to know, can we really afford it all?
Well, if you take the visitor center expansion out, because that's building and plumbing and things like that, and that could be substantial depending on what's decided. Everything else is within the ballpark that everyone knows about. The playground is up in the air because we don't know what, like I said, you can spend $20,000 on a playground and you can spend $500,000 on a playground. So I'm waiting to see what is proposed and what the cost is, and before I send it to you. I'm not interested in a fancy playground. I'm not interested in a ropes course or any, as Kate said, 2 swings and a slide. So, again, Calder, I'm not asking you to approve that list. I was asking you today to approve the radio station. You did, and thank you. We'll start that process first thing in the morning. But I can't, I shouldn't say I can't. I really, my time management skills are going to tell me that I'm not going to go create grant applications for a project that I'm not going to be able to include in my budget for this year. Yeah, I can't wait till April to do that.
Could we designate a certain amount of money towards this project?
Well,
Could we say we're willing to put $10,000 towards the playground? We say we're willing to
well,
put $5,000 towards bathrooms? I mean, is there some way we can kind of
well, you can certainly do anything. You can certainly,
the other end?
you certainly can do anything you want. I'm not going to tell you how you can allocate. Obviously, I would like you to fund the playground at a substantial, if not, high percentage. Same thing with the bathrooms and things like that. If I can't get TDA funding, it's going to restrict dramatically what I can get done through the town budget for various reasons. Obviously, the town budget has many restrictions and many other costs, but it's hard for me as a town manager to justify building a bathroom at the Bark Park, for instance, on the backs of the taxpayer, when I think when I personally think it's more attuned to the visitors coming to the town and using those facilities. And I could go down the list, but
Let's say we put in the bathroom, who's going to maintain this bathroom?
well, of course the town.
Recreation?
Of course the town. I will. It's my job. I'm the town manager, and again, don't take this wrong, but you're getting into the weeds and you're actually getting into my job. I'm only asking you to be the bank and fund it. You should not worry about who's going to clean it, who's going to change the toilet paper, who's going to fix the light bulb when it breaks. That's my job.
As long as Kate doesn't have to do it.
Well, and, that's just the logistics of it.
Plus, Brittany said I was supposed to have the bathrooms over here at the Park, but we're gonna probably move the permanent ledge over to the back side. Then that's up to meet the bathrooms on that side. Also, we can probably more use off the second in the winter to get all the summer from Park.
Calder, what would you be happy with? Because meet us in a area where you would be comfortable, where you can let Bob go ahead and do some of his planning. You guys have been fantastic when I've been emailing you and asking you to vote via email. There's going to be times that, for example, the radio station, Bob's going to have the proposal together. We send it out to you. You want to do it that way, and that way we can go ahead and get as much approved as possible before that April 1st.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the project, I just probably have a project.
And you know what, Calder, you're right. We do have a process problem, and, Bob has said that we've been talking about this stuff. Kate's been talking about this stuff. If you take a look at those goals that I sent out to you, or Kate sent out to you, they've been our goals in talking about these things for years now. And we have the money, we have the person that can do it and implement it, and staff and is willing to do it. So I understand that you just got this one little teeny tiny piece of paper You know, heck, I would like to know the exact dollar amount that we were gonna be able to use and whatever. Bob is going to be bringing us those projects with a dollar amount affixed to them. And the only thing different, guys, is we're not gonna be able to approve them all in mass like you guys are used to doing. What we're gonna have to be, doing, or what we're proposing that we might wanna do, is when he brings us something, maybe he brings us the, bathroom first, because we know the dollar amounts on that. You know, I'm gonna be bringing it to you, we'll email it to you, King will email it to you, and we'll get you guys to vote on it at that point. That's not to say that we don't do, go ahead, Calder. Okay, so you're good with that, Calder. So Bob, okay, so you're open to these 9 things. Bob is gonna go ahead and he's gonna prepare the numbers and whatever, bring them to us. When Kate and I get them, we're gonna get them out to you guys. You're gonna go ahead and agree on them, or disagree on them, and we'll go piece by piece.
Well, I think it is fixed now because, radio
Okay.
frequency we've got back, the town fund was already agreed on that.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so Bob's gonna get all of the research done, give us a dollar amount, and piece by piece. But in the, Bob's got the speed element here. He, as quickly as he gets them to us, we're gonna get them back even quicker to him with approval or disapproval. But therein lies the trust, guys. If he's gonna be putting together his staff time to get all of this information together, you know, we need to know right now if there's anything on here that you really don't want.
Well, when I first heard you say the line item thing about the radio station, I was not for it, but people got me more information and financial information and the effectiveness of it, and once I heard all that, yeah, that's great.
Okay, so just,
Follow that same process, that's all.
okay, so piecemeal, like tomorrow, if Bob has something tomorrow and I send it out to you, and you guys are gonna give us the up and down, you're not gonna say, okay, I wanna hold off on this because I don't know whether the TDA expansion is gonna be more money. That can't enter into your decision making. Right?
I just don't want to get into a point where we have to go to 50% or where we're not budget.
Well,
Have you gone over budget on any,
Well-
what did you do on the roads? Have you gone over budget on any of the projects?
I don't go over budget.
Guys, we need to trust this.
Calder, here's what I want the TDA to know. After today's meeting, when I address the council, reference to the budget, I'm going to have some of these projects in the budget, and I'm going to tell them that I spoke to you in your meeting, and we've agreed that with more detail, the TDA is willing to fund these. And what I don't want is when I make that public statement, to have someone go behind me to the council and say, no, we never agreed to that, or we didn't agree, to that extent. My time frame is I've got to get the town council's budget prepared, and I need to tell them where I plan to get the funding. So if we, let's say I put a bathroom on the budget for the Bark Park, and I show it at $30,000. I'm going to tell them in a footnote and personally in public that I've spoken to the TDA, and the TDA is on board with funding that. I'm not going to tell them that they're on board funding the specific design, because quite frankly, the council won't see a design. The council will see a project and a budget amount. And if we can agree to that, then I'm willing to go forward. But what I don't want is when I make those public statements that then get, shoot myself in the foot, and the TDA comes back and says, well, we discussed it, but we never really agreed to it, and you know how that goes. My time constraint is the town budget, that I have to get these projects put in, and I have to determine where the funding's gonna come from. So if we can agree to that, I'm good.
Yeah, but at the same time, and I'm sure the town is doing something where they want to do a project, and they had some preliminary thoughts on what it would cost, and then when engineering or whoever comes back to them, instead of $52,000, it would cost $176,000, that changes their plan. So I thought last year, it turns out that a bathroom is going to cost $110,000, that does change.
Okay, Calder, I understand about that, but I don't think Chief Penny is gonna bring you a project, and as he said, we kind of know basically dollar amount wise a range on these different projects. I don't think he's gonna bring you an $800,000, what was the thing down at Lake Coffee? I mean, it went from $200,000 to $800,000.
Oh, Shane Park.
All right. Putney's not gonna do that.
And quite honestly, your example is what's making
I understand about that, and
we love this idea, and it doesn't, it's worth it, a lot more than doesn't, and we don't something that brings.
you know what, I totally understand that. I trust Chief Putney. He's not been wasting money. He has done everything he possibly can to fix projects that were FUBARs, for lack of a better term. And we have the opportunity, we have the money. Kate sure as heck needs a better visitor center. Let's let this go, and as quickly as he can, he's gonna get us these numbers. And Steve's gonna get us a projected number, through the end of the year. We have the money, guys, and we have the personnel, and Kate definitely has the team, and I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot over process here. Mandy, you haven't chimed in a while.
I'm still here. I'm listening. Like I said, I want to do them all, so.
Okay, Calder, are
Yeah, for the most part. I'm actually not going to wait for that. I'm going to start putting it in the budget. Here's what I figured out, what I'm going to do. You're exactly correct. That's what we're going to do, but I need to tell the council before that can occur that we have a partnership with the TDA. So if in the end you don't approve that package I send you, we'll simply take the project off the list on the town budget, and we can revisit it at a later time.
Okay, again, you know, if you blend those two, it's, you know, the only reason I would say we're not, is suddenly,
A crazy project.
shock, yeah, not a shock that we weren't expecting.
No, I,
And we go back and say that reason, we weren't going to project.
yeah, no, I understand. And you know, this has got to be a partnership, because it's the only way it's going to work. So, you know, I've heard enough. You know, it's, we've got a process. I'm going to start building it into the budget, and if for some reason, for whatever reason, it doesn't go through, then we'll just take it out of the budget as we go forward.
All right, Calder, did you also want to add that Kate should start the grant process using the dates?
Well, that's separate.
Okay, so Calder put the motion. Kate, hopefully you can word that to everyone's satisfaction. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Randy, thank you very much. Calder, thank you very much. I think we also need a motion on the 380 for the reserve, Kate. Okay, anybody want to make a motion on that?
I'll second.
All right, second.
I'll second.
All right. Any other, okay, so I don't think we need a motion on the grants. Kate, can we just go ahead and ask you to go ahead and start the application?
You do need a motion to start the grant application process, so we'll need a motion and a second for that too.
Okay, anybody?
Motion to start the grant application process.
I'll second.
Okay, great. One other order of business, the board unanimously, in between meetings, did a seasonal bonus for staff. Kate, if you can reflect that in the minutes, that would be appreciated.
Okay, yes, and Armando and I were given $500 each, and we gave, let's see, Elena got $350, and then we gave Susie $500 as well. So we thank you very much, that was very nice.
Well, it's much appreciated for outstanding efforts, especially in these trying times. All right, Chief, do you need anything else in terms of you moving forward with
Nope.
your projects?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions based on that? All right. Kate, is going through the old business here, is there anything, or do you just want to quickly just give us, the billboard, from what I understand, Chief has volunteered to get Riley to assist and make that happen?
Okay, guys, we've had, Daniel and Matthew go out, they're gonna have to rebuild the road, the billboard, and they've gone and looked at it. I talked to Riley about it this morning, we need to wait for snow melt because they can't really see where the road bed is. Let's see, TV shows are running up and running, we did get the passwords and the login information from Kevin, because they're moved out of the town servers, and they, yeah, they're trying to
chance to see the website that he developed or created, please take a look at it. It's fabulous. It's exactly what we needed, Armando, and thank you for doing that. Would you please send the 4-ups, Armando, to Calder and, Mandy? Everybody is already using your 4-ups and handing them out to visitors. So the people that have a lot of visitors, friends, if you can just send that 4-up, they can go ahead and print and produce their own. EMO parking we already talked about, radio we talked about. Quilt Trail is up and cooking. If you look at that birthday website, or if you also look on the website for the tourism website, the map is on there. Great job on that, Armando and Kate. It's up and going. Grants, I think we've taken care of. Fork Trail's taken care of. Buckeye Signs taken care of. Goals, we're doing our goals. We're going to actually be able to cross off our goals. New business, we did the hearing, we did the priority projects. The retreat, please guys, you see how much we all need to talk to each other and need to kind of reformat our thinking due to our situation being changed, the money coming in, and the different ways we want to work together in a partnership. Please circle that March 16th date. Chief is already committed to being there. I really appreciate if you guys can make it also. Kate's report is in the packet. And can anybody have any last word or comment? All right, great.
When Kate left, they got off my audio, so I only got the mail and, photo to somebody.
Okay, Armando, I will email you with that. And I hope you didn't miss my appreciation and thanks for a job well done. Anybody else? All right, can I have somebody make a motion to get the heck out of Dodge? Okay, Armando, please note for Kate, Mandy motion, adjourn the meeting, and Cindy, did you second?
I did.
And Cindy seconded. And Calder, I am not a used car salesperson. I really appreciate you, and you gotta love me anyways, all right? Thanks, everybody.
I do.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for working through it.
All right, good job, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
No, I'm going to say, I told you so, the most dysfunctional group on the mountain.
I know that we got it. It only took 2 hours. We got it. You got it. Just don't come up with an $800,000 accident, and I think we'll be okay.
I didn't come up with that.
I know you didn't.